Alright guys, so let me show you how to add the plugin to the project real quick. We've got a brand new empty project here open, a C++ project. I'm gonna create a plugins folder. And once you've downloaded the zip file, you can extract it. We're gonna go to the plugins folder, take the folder called Speechcraft, throw it in there real quick. Once the folder has been copied, we'll go back to the folder of the project. We generate Visual Studio project files. And now, once we open the IDE, we're going to be able to see the project files here in the File Explorer, plugins, Speechcraft, and all of the files. Hey guys, so first thing first, I want to thank you all for participating in the playtest for Speechcraft and helping me out. I'm going to start by just showing what Speechcraft is supposed to look like eventually. I'm just going to press 1 on the keyboard. It's in the level blueprint. It's just gonna basically load all the widgets in the level and show them. I've got the rectangle, the red rectangle widget to debug the bounds. And let me try to explain what's happening here. Basically, we've got a single canvas panel all over the screen, and all the different widgets are actually loaded on a single widget hierarchy in the canvas panel. All of the widgets that you're seeing are soft classes, meaning that they can be loaded and unloaded on demand. And another important thing to mention is that all these widgets are supposed to be indicators for interaction with NPCs, so that I can talk to NPCs and finish talking. But they can definitely be used to indicate off-screen like objects or things that the player needs to pick up maybe, or waypoints or mission objectives and stuff like that. For example, this example here is an indicator only. So as you guys can see, I cannot interact with it, but it has like an arrow and an indication sign. The shape of the rectangle on the screen can be changed to an ellipse, like a capsule, can be changed to a circle, and also the ratio compared to the screen can be changed. So this is about 80% ratio of my whole screen. So practically what I want you guys to notice is that we've got a first widget. This is called the interact widget, and this shows by default as the widget when the NPC is in bounds. When the NPC goes out of bounds, we're going to switch to the minimized widget. And this is the widget that shows it on the edges of the screen, or the debug shape, depends on your choice. And when it goes back to bounds, it's going to show the interact widget like this. And so when I go to talk with the NPC, we have the main widget, which has text and also player interaction. So when I press space now, it's going to load the next text. And also I have an option to speed up the text. I've got an option to go back, to go forward. I've got an option also to play and pause. Let me see, and pause and continue, pause, continue, pause, continue. Again, pause, continue, pause, continue, and let it finish. And there's an option to fill the text also. So fill text and then next. Okay, again, I'm going to show it. Filling the text, next. Filling the text, next. And also there's an option so that the same button that's used to fill the text is going to be the button that goes next. Fill the text, next. Fill the text, next. And the same goes for the speeding up text. I press the same button to speed up and then go next. Speed up, go next. Speed up, go next. Alrighty then. So now that I've showed you the basic basically what Speechcraft is, I'm gonna start also by just showing you how to implement the basic widget, and then I'll go over the examples here. So let's start by creating just a random actor. I've got here like a child of the third person character. All it has is mesh, arrow, capsule. It's not doing anything. The event graph is empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a SC component. When you search for it, choose the first one. BP SC component is the default one. BP SC component wall block is a component that has a line trace to whether a wall is blocking the NPC from the player's camera, and blocks it. So this is for more advanced usage later. For now, we add a normal SC component. I'm just going to name it SC component without the BP prefix. And what we want to do after we've added it is first of all choose widgets for it. So let's go ahead and click it. Search for Speechcraft in the details panel, and we've got the component settings. We've got widget pivot. First of all, notice that the component is a scene component, meaning we can choose where we want the widget to appear. So I'm going to put it here at 90. I want it to appear over the head of this NPC. The widget pivot 1/2 and 1 means that it's going to be centered, and then the lower part is going to be, so this white part is going to be, the white circle is going to be the lowest part of the widget, meaning it's going to appear over his head. Now, here we've got the main widget settings, interact widget settings, and minimized widget settings, which are the 3 widget types that I've shown in the previous part. The main widget, I'm gonna go ahead and just keep the normal one. Let me show you guys. It's this one. Just looks like this. It's gonna show up at the bottom of the screen. Then for the interact widget, I can also keep the normal one. These are the default widgets. It's the basic ones. They just look like this. And what I'm gonna do in the event graph now is I want them to show based on events. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add an event for begin play. And first thing that I want to happen is just on begin play, I'm just gonna use the component to show widget. This is the function that we're gonna use. Show widget, and we need to choose which widget out of the 3. We've got the main, the interact, and the minimized. Now, I don't recommend doing it with the main widget, especially if the input is enabled. If we've got input enabled, it means that when the main widget shows, we're gonna start interacting with it, skipping text and stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use it for interact. Let's see how it works when we drop this this actor into the scene. Let's start. All right, I guess I dropped myself a bit low. Let me start here. Okay, there it is, it's loaded. We'll see the canvas panel, and the system is working out of the box. We can see that the widget is minimizing wherever it's out of bounds and expanding when it's in bounds, just like so. Okay, now let's add interaction to the main widget. So on event begin play, this happens, and to interact with the main widget, I'm gonna set it up based on an event. I'm gonna add a collision sphere here. Okay, I'm gonna set the collision to be trigger, shouldn't step on it. And I think that should be good enough. Let's set maybe the size to be something like that. Okay, and we're gonna bind to the sphere an event also of the Speechcraft component. On begin overlap. Just create an event, doesn't really matter. And we're gonna take our SC component, Speechcraft component, and we're gonna show widget, again, show widget main. This time we're going to show the main widget. So now we've got a collision sphere, and once I touch it, I see the main widget coming up, and when I press space, it's gonna remove the text array because it's just one text. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and quickly, if we don't use data tables or something complicated, we can go ahead right here in the viewport, open up this actors details panel, take the SC component. Again, we can search for Speechcraft or simply go to it because it's already here. And here in the Speechcraft settings, we can go onto the text array. We can quickly add arrays. Well, let's say text number 2. And my text is the best 3. And now once I interact with this widget, I spawned and I immediately overlap with it. We get text number 2, we get my text is the best 3, and then it quits. So this is basically how to use the Speechcraft component on its most bare bones version. We want to show the interact widget if we want the player to be interacting with this actor, and at some point we want to the interact to indicate to the player that we want the player to interact with the NPC, and we can then bind different events to start the interaction using the like overlap event and showing the main widget. Now something we can do here, I've got on my player pawn. Where is my player pawn? It's in plugins, Speechcraft, example, third person, and the third person character. I've got something called SC interact component and SC player component. Now the SC player component is obligatory if you guys want to use the interaction with the main widget. The SC interact component is actually a component that's responsible just for line tracing and being able to interact with actors in a specific way, designed for Speechcraft specifically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and in this actor here, in the playtest actor, I'm going to implement an interface. Sorry, it's in class settings, interface add, SC interact, SC interact interface. Now, get relative location. We need to implement two functions. This one, get relative location to place the widget, which is just Z90. It's the location where I want. I'm sorry, no, it's not Z90. Actually, this is the location where I want the interact widget to appear. I'm not quite sure where I want it to appear. I'm just gonna do something a bit random and hope that it's fine. You guys are gonna see it in a moment. So first thing, get relative location, and then get SC component. I need to return this actor's SC component, and that's it. Okay, and the thing that's gonna happen, first of all, I'm also gonna remove this binding because I don't want the main widget to show when I overlap. And now when we play, we're gonna see that the button E appears. This is because I implemented the SC interact interface, and I can press E and now show the main widget by having the line tracing from the camera to the player instead of using the overlap, which are both totally great ways, but this component is designed to work with Speechcraft, and you guys can change this widget. And as you guys can see, we've got fading animations when aiming at it, not aiming at it, and when pressing, we've got a press animation also. So you guys can play around with this component too. Okay, let's continue on to the examples. All right, guys, so before we dive into the examples here in the example map, I want to go over the first thing we see here in the Speechcraft content drawer. We can open the user settings, And we've got here the first setting, which is on by default. Use tick to update position in the canvas, meaning that when we see a widget here, then the position of the widget gets updated on tick. Okay, this is updating the widget position on tick. Now, excuse me. When I go and I untick it and I choose like an extreme value like 10, let's see the difference. Now, the widget gets updated 10 times a second. So as you guys can see, it stutters a lot. Let's go even more extreme just to show the difference, maybe 3 times a second. And this is super slow. Okay, so my game is running at 60 FPS, so I usually just use the tick update. It works really well with widgets. When I set it on 60 with a timer, it still updates a bit late, in a little delay. Okay, we can use the tick function to update the position if we're not worried about performance. The bounds mode means what shape I want the bounds to be. So let's choose an ellipse and see what this means. Let me also set the ratio to be 80% so we can see it better. Now instead of a rectangle, we're gonna have an ellipse like this. And when the widget goes out of bounds, it actually goes on a bounds of an ellipse instead of a rectangle. Okay, and the last thing we have is a circle. You guys can play around with it. I can make a really small circle, for example. Okay, and the bounds are inside a circle. This can be useful for different purposes, I think, other than just using it to display an interaction widget, to be honest. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna go back to using a rectangle. And of course, if you set the ratio to 1, which is the original ratio, we're gonna get a rectangle that's at the edges of the screen, and the widgets will minimize just on the edges. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna set the rectangle again to 80% so we can debug it better, we can see it better. And let's talk about what it means when a main widget is on actor and fixed in viewport. So when I interact with this NPC here, the widget is currently fixed in viewport. As you can see, wherever I look, I'm still gonna see the widget in the same place. I cannot currently stop interacting with it. Now, if I choose the on actor, instead of being fixed in one position, it's always gonna try to stay on the actor. Now, in the case of this NPC here, I've set a boolean that makes the main widget stay on screen always, force main widget on screen. If I disable it, let's go to this actor, go to its SC component, to the SC component settings, and let's go to the main widget settings, you guys can see here, and we can set the main widget to be on actor and force main widget on screen to be off. If the force main widget on screen is off, we're gonna see that once the main widget gets out of bounds, it's gonna get minimized. So every time I step on this button, it's gonna show the main widget, and whenever the main widget goes out of bounds, it's gonna get minimized. I'm gonna bring it back to force main widget, and also the position mode to be fixed in viewport, but because this is the default position mode for this actor. So I can switch between fixed and viewport to see what this means, and switch back to on actor. So I know that it's on the actor, and I can skip all the text and stop interacting with it. Now I can, by the way, if I press 1 on the keyboard, I'm gonna make all the widgets appear. This is happening through the level blueprint. I'm just getting all the actors of this type and I'm showing their widgets. I press 2 on the keyboard, I'm gonna destroy all the widgets. Now let's talk about the animated example. As you guys can see, this widget gets an animation each time it minimizes and expands. Also, the main widget has an animation whenever it shows and gets removed. Again. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to implement this easily through blueprints, because in this case here, the widgets that this component uses. Let me show you guys. Let's go to this component, SC component of this actor. We go to the widget classes. Let's go to the animated interact widget, which inherits this animated base. And now this widget is inheriting SC animated widget, which is a C++ class. So the only difference is that we've got a binding here of the animations. Okay, this V here means that show widget anim and hide widget anim are bound. I've got 2 animations here called show widget anim and hide widget anim, which we've just seen in the viewport. If we play them, these are the animations. So basically, once I create 2 animations and I name them exactly like this, the names must be the same. The CPP file is going to read it automatically and I don't need to do anything else. Now, if I don't want to inherit from the widget, from the SC widget class, I can just go ahead and use what this blueprint only example shows. So if I go into the SC component of this NPC and I go, for example, onto the main widget, which is not inheriting from C++, it's inheriting the user widget class. I mean, it is inheriting from C++, but not from Speechcraft. Just a normal user widget. And I want it to have a typewriter, right? Because it's a main widget and I'm using the typewriter, which is the Speechcraft interactive typewriter. All I need to do is create 2 animations. I don't even need to name them the same, but for this example, I named them the same. I've got 2 animations, show widget anim and hide widget anim. And then in order to make them integrate with the Speechcraft system, I need to implement an interface. I'm implementing the SC interact interface, not interact, sorry, SC widget interface. And I'm implementing the function integrate typewriter and integrate animations. So integrate typewriter, all it does is return the typewriter. And integrate animations, all it does is I need to return the animations. Okay, it's quite easy. Once I've done this, the system automatically will take care of it and play the animations. Like here, when I show the main widget, it has the typewriter here and the animations for fading in and fading out. All right, cool. Next example. Let's go on to the speech bubble. Speech bubble is just like an extensive stylized widget class. It does things similarly to all the others, but here we've got an animation of dots playing while the widget, the interact widget shows. We've got the same happening with the minimized version. And when I speak to this NPC, on this NPC specifically, I turned off the force main widget onto screen, so it's gonna get minimized, just like so. And that's it practically. We can inherit this widget to to use this like structure and change the colors. Let me show you guys what I mean. For example, I've got a another widget here in the advanced examples that does just that. I want to show you guys what I mean. This is a bit of a more advanced usage of the system. But here I've got this guy who's tracing me. Both tracing me is using the speechcraft component with the tracing capability to stop showing the widget when the camera gets behind the wall. Now, this widget that this character uses is just the same speech bubble widget, but it's stylized. So this is like an example of how it can be stylized. I've added a text on top saying wall block NPC, the name maybe of this NPC. I made the tail green, and I made the bubble itself pixelated. So let's see how this, what this looks like. If I go onto this characters widgets, let's open the widget class here, and this in the designer we can just click the top thing here, the WBP SC speech bubble. Then we've got a bubble footer. Those are name slots, okay, for those who know what it is, and if you don't, I suggest that you research it. These are just empty slots to fill stuff up. So I've actually got a header name slot to which I added the text wall block. This is how I added this text over the normal speech bubble. Okay, and once we click on this element here, the top element, we can go to Speechcraft and we can change the typewriter, the tail image, the animation speeds, the restore states of the animations. For example, bubble color, we can just go and change it as we want on the fly. We can change the design, the font of the typewriter, and now this will be saved. And when I interact with this NPC, I'm gonna get this widget instead. So that's the point of the speech bubble, actually. Trying to show the point of the speech bubble, I accidentally showed you also the wall block example. Okay, next example is the, I'm gonna go real quick over the indicator only because it's really easy. This example just has an indicator, and it also rotates. The minimized version also rotates to the location of the owner. Okay, so we've got this circle when the actor is inbounds, and once the actor is out of bounds, we've got a arrow that shows us where we should look. How this works is practically, let's look at the widgets of this guy. First of all, in the minimized widget settings, as you guys can see, I choose rotate towards owner, set it to true. Then let's look at the widget itself. It's an arrow and it must be facing down. Like if the way I'm rotating the widget towards the owner is I'm taking the lower part, the center of the lowest part of the widget, and I'm rotating the edge of the low part towards the speechcraft component location on the owning actor. Okay, and then we've got the interact widget, which is just this circle. It doesn't do anything special. I think the one thing that I did change in this example is I made it so that the widget pivot is actually half and half, so it's centered. Then the main widget, it actually has no main widget, so I set it to none. I just removed it. Once you remove a widget, all that this thing is going to do, for example, we've got the auto show function. I haven't talked about the auto show, so maybe it's a good time. The auto show means that it will automatically try to show the widget. So once this interact widget goes out of bounds, I will try to show the minimized widget. If I turn this off, once the interact widget goes out of bounds, I'm not going to show the interact one. I'm just going to show the minimized one. Sorry, the interact. I'm not minimizing it into the arrow. And once I put the auto show to be true on the minimized widget, I will automatically transfer to the minimized widget whenever the interact goes out of bounds. All right. Let's go on to the next example, which is this one here, the focused player example. So this one doesn't do anything when it's out of bounds. It keeps showing the interact widget. What we can do is, again, I can go to the focused player NPC, which I'm talking about right now, and I can set the interact widget. By the way, here I removed the minimized widget, so we've got no widget for this. On the interact widget, I'm gonna do ignore out of bounds. And now, when this widget goes out of bounds, nothing actually happens. We're ignoring the out of bounds event. Okay, perfect. So only when I'm looking at it, it's gonna show. Now, when I speak to this NPC, I actually cannot move anymore. No matter what I press, I'm only bound to the speechcraft input now. So I can press space, I can go forward and backward on the text, I can fill the text, I can speed up the text, I can pause and resume the text. Okay, and then when the widget, the main widget ends interaction, we resume control over the character. Now, how is this done? I go to the focused player. I'm going to open the blueprint of this NPC. And we're going to see how this is done. So on event begin play, I'm doing the parent begin play because the parent of all the NPCs on the level, they just show a widget on the, whenever I step into this box collision, whenever there's an overlap, I just show the interact widget. Let me show you guys what I mean. So I'm going to open the parent, and all it does is on box trigger overlap. I bind the begin play to have a box trigger and show a widget whenever it's overlapping. Show widget SC interact. Okay, whenever I overlap, I'm going to show the SC interact widget, no matter which class is inheriting this. Okay, this is why I'm getting equal to the parent. That's what I wanted to explain. Now, I'm binding here the SC component. I'm binding the events that are coming from the SC component, the begin interaction and end interaction. Begin interaction is called when the main widget is shown and the text starts getting writing, and the on SC, sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. Bind to on component end interaction is gonna be called when the main widget is removed. So when the interaction begins, I'm getting from the main widget, I'm getting the owning player, which is the player controller, and I'm removing the mapping context, the default mapping context. Whenever the interaction ends, I'm resuming the, I'm re-adding the mapping context. And here I have just an example to how I can remove the widget and also destroy it and free up the memory, or like remove the reference, dereference it. So destroy widgets on removed whenever I end the overlap with the box. So let me show you guys what this means. Let's start. When I overlap, I'm going to load the widget, I'm going to load the canvas panel, and I'm going to show it. Now, I can, when I start talking, now my input is gone. I cannot move my mouse anymore. I can only interact with the main widget. Once the interaction ends, I can move again. And when I step out, I'm going to destroy this widget, and the canvas panel should be destroyed 5 seconds later. Perfect. All right. Next example. Okay, These examples are the advanced examples, so things are getting more interesting. Let's go on to the cinematic camera example. Now the cinematic camera uses a bit of a customized way to use Speechcraft, because here, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but on all of the other examples here, this where the red widget is right now, the red circle, is actually the location of the Speechcraft component. So also here, the Speechcraft component is a scene component, and it's located over the top of the head of this NPC. Now, the interesting thing that I did here in the cinematic camera is actually the Speechcraft component. What we're seeing right now is not the Speechcraft component. It is not located, as you guys can see, when it goes out of bounds. The Speechcraft component is not located over the head. The Speechcraft component is actually centered. Now, what's going to happen is I have a dummy widget, like a fake like a fake interact widget at the center of mass of this NPC. And once the center of mass goes out of bounds, I'm showing this arrow widget that points to the center of mass. Then I use another widget component for this NPC that shows the overhead widget. Because I didn't want the Speechcraft component to point towards the head of the NPC. I wanted it to point towards the body, and then the interaction widget only shows up unrelated to the location of the Speechcraft component. All right, perfect. Now the other thing that happens is when I interact, I'm actually going to go and use a camera lerp and start interacting with this NPC in like a cinematic mode. And let's go onto the cinematic camera NPC's blueprint to see how this goes. This is a bit more complicated, and we get a bit of a scarier blueprint here. The main point to understand here is in pink, I put the things that are related to the overhead component instead of the Speechcraft component. So if I look here in the viewport, this actor actually has one Speechcraft component, SC component, it's centered center of mass, and an overhead component, it's the one that shows over the head. The Speechcraft component is used for the rotational widget and the out of bounds behavior. So in the case of this actor, what we do is we bind the same on begin interaction and on end interaction. We bind them and we do the same. We add the default mapping context and we remove it. But in addition, we switch to the player camera. We're using a lerp with blend to switch to this camera that I've got here. We switch to the camera, we delay, and also use an interesting node here that comes from the SC world subsystem. This is accessible from any blueprint. And let's go back to, begin interaction. So we remove the default mapping context, we switch to the speaker's camera, and we actually hide all the widgets on screen. So hide, it means that I'm not going to destroy them, I'm not going to dereference them, I'm just going to hide them for the sake of this interaction. There's another function called remove on screen widgets, which in this case we can choose what to do when the widgets are removed. But I chose just to hide them because I want to keep them loaded, because I want them to be back right when the interaction ends. On end interaction, I will unhide the on-screen widgets. Then the overhead component, I'm actually hiding it once I begin the interaction. Once I, another more complicated thing here is that we're binding now events to also the onComponent begin remove widget and begin show widget. Just to let you guys know all the events we've got. We've got begin interaction, We've got end interaction. We've got begin remove widget. We've got end remove widget. We've got begin show widget, and we've got end show widget. Okay, we've got widgets destroyed. This means all the widgets have been dereferenced and destroyed. They don't exist anymore. So don't try to access this component's widgets. And we've got on widgets loaded, which is an event that can be used in the case that you'd like to something to happen once the widgets are loaded and do like something separate. I haven't used it here in any example, but I can see where this can come in handy. Now, the events begin show widget and begin remove widget, they have variables of the widget type that has been shown and the reference to the same widget, and begin remove widget also has the widget type and a reference to the widget. So I'm using a switch. I'm switch on the type. By the way, using begin show widget or end show widget and taking the main widget can be equivalent to begin interaction, because the interaction only begins once a main widget has been shown. All right, so when we begin to show the interact widget, which as I said, is actually a fake widget. Let me show you guys what I mean. I'm just using here in the interact widget settings, I'm using a dummy interact widget that's just an empty widget. Has nothing inside it. Okay, so once I show this, does it have anything inside it actually? It might have like yeah, it has an empty image, like a zero opacity image, and it's pretty small because I'm just using it to get the position of the center of mass of the actor. All right, so once I want to show this image, I'm actually gonna show the overhead widget instead. So again, the center of mass of this actor is here. As you guys can see, it's pointing towards the center of the mass. Once the center of mass is in bounds, I'm showing the overhead widget. All right, this is practically all that happens. Okay then, next example. Ooh, the branching dialog example. Let's go ahead and before the branching dialog, no, let's go straight to the branching dialog. It's also, the branching dialog, by the way, is based on the cinematic camera. I mean, it inherits the same properties. I'm gonna have a interpolation like this when I start speaking, but there's quite a few additions as you guys can see. So here, there is something called an SC branching dialog handler. This has to be created inside the main widget, and we're gonna get something interesting. So we have some text, hold it right there, state your business, and then we move control onto the UI only, and I can select options with buttons. Let's choose, I want to buy dark forest berries. Dark forest berries? Prepare to perish, scoundrel, guard angry. Okay, so this triggered the guard angry event. Now let's try a different path. Let's choose drink ale at the Barbosa bar, sorry. Come all this way for the Barbosa, eh? Are you certain it's only for the ale? Now, we can choose and say, I came here for the other pleasures. Ha ha ha, I knew it the moment I laid eyes on you. Have your fill, but mind ya, leave some for the guards. And this triggers the guard neutral event. Hold it right there. State your business. Again, meet with Lord Bernard. Meet the Lord, eh? Have you got an invitation? No, but I won't need one. Hold your tongue. You are under arrest for dishonoring the Bernardian God. Guard angry. All right. So practically we have some text. Then we load buttons and we can branch onto different options. Let's see how this works. All right, so I'm gonna open the blueprint for this NPC. So inside the NPC blueprint, I'm not doing much except for controlling something that's related to the data table. So maybe I'll show this later. For now, I'm gonna open actually the Speechcraft component to see what happens in the main widget, which is the important part here. So the main widget is this widget, which also has this wrap box buttons, which contains all the buttons that I'm going to be using. To use the branching component, the branching capability, what we have to do is call on event initialized of the widget that's going to be using this component, this handler. I call it the create the branching dialog handler. I keep calling it a component because it's like a component. It's something you add to the main widget. So I'm going to create a branching dialog handler. I'm going to select the class here. I can do two things. I can either select a class or feed it a data table and a default row handle. Instead of it, I'm just using a class, a blueprint here, a blueprint that inherits SC branching dialog handler. Okay, this blueprint, all it has is a player choice table. This is the table that has all of the different player choices. Then we've got a data table, which is the text for the guard. Hold it right there, state your business, dark forest berries. And they all have to be of type SC row. Of course, this is the type that I'm using here in all of the different examples. Okay, and the starting row of where to start. So guard N0R0. This is the neutral 0, row 0. Okay, I'm going to go over what this means in a separate part of how to use the branching dialog. So what we do is we get all those, we create this widget handler using self, which is the owner widget, the typewriter of the widget must have a typewriter if we want to use it. Then we want to give an array of buttons. So it not necessarily has to be with the same design here of the wrap box with the buttons and stuff. All we have to do is create buttons or any type of widget, as a matter of fact, or object. But those buttons, okay, they must implement the SC text interface. What does this mean? This button is a blueprint. Let's see it. This is the blueprint for the button, and it implements here in interfaces the Speechcraft text interface, and it implements the set text and get text functions. Okay, so set text and get text. Set text and get text in this context, what they do is practically the branching handler has to get the text and set the text on the different interactive parts of the widget. So I give it this, so again, it's a bit difficult to explain, to be honest, but the text that the buttons are going to show, instead of saying showing branching button, they're going to be fed with different text, right? So let me open real quick the data table to player options. Let's see the three options for N0R1 for the first branch. Player option 0, player option 1, player option 2. These three texts are going to be mapped to the buttons. The branching widget handler is going to call set text on these for these texts to set them as the button texts. Okay, this might be the most complicated part of to implement, I guess, in this plugin. So I might make like a whole separate video on it, but I'm going to continue for now for the playtest, so you guys can have some idea on it. Now, unclicking on one of those buttons, each one has to be has its own mapping. We're going to take the branching handler and we're going to show the next text from button. So each button is going to have a next text mapped to it. Next text means the text that should show after this button has been pressed. We need to do exactly this thing. And then I disable the buttons, meaning I play like an animation to fade them away. And then I also bring the input to be game only. So again, let's watch it. I start interacting. Right now the input is in game. I'm using enhanced input. Now the input became input for UI only, and the buttons got the text from the data table. Depending on which button I'm going to press, I'm going to show the next text, right? If I go to drink ale at the Barbosa Tavern, the text that I'm seeing now, come all this way, it has to be mapped to this button. Okay, I'm going to choose I. The ale is fine indeed. I shall keep a close eye on you. Take your leave. And the guard is neutral. All right. So I guess that's it for this example. And let's continue on to the blocked wall example. So in this example, I'm going to show an example for an event that is called after the player has talked to an NPC. So I talk to this NPC. It's going to say, hi, I will open the door now. Okay. And the door is opened. You can go and interact with this guy. This guy has the SC, the speechcraft component that also has the line tracing capability to hide when it's behind a wall. And I can talk to this guy. And we've already seen this example. Pretty cool. If I talk to this guy again, it's going to say, hi, I will close the door now. So we're also switching the text each time we talk to him. It's going to be, hi, I will open the door now. He opens the door. I talk to him again. He's going to say, hi, I will close the door now. Okay, so let's take a look at how this works. Let's open up the blueprint. Okay, perfect. So in this case, again, begin play, we call always the parent function because it's inheriting. We're gonna bind to component end interaction, meaning when the main widget is removed. And the first thing I do on begin play, I set the text array. Oh, I've got a typo here that I need to fix. I'm gonna write it down real quick. What this does, the set text array, maybe it's hard to see here, but it's actually connected to the SC component. And when I call the set text array, it's just gonna set the array to be this array, which is open door. It's hi, I will open this door. This is the first thing we set. Okay, so when the interaction is ended, I have a delegate dispatcher and event dispatcher that calls on interacted with. Okay, this is the event that the wall, the moving wall, is bound to. It's listening to this event, and I flip flop each time I do a different thing. First time I've had the open door text. Now I'm going to have the closed door text. Oh, it's actually, yeah, we'll open the door now, yeah. So after the door has been opened, I'm going to have the closed door text, set text array to the SE component. And next time the player interacts, it's going to have the open door again. I will open the door now. Perfect. Now here I've left some more example for setting the text. We can set text by using the structure, text data settings, which is a speechcraft structure. We can choose the type we want. We can set the text. If we choose a data table, we can also create a data table row. We can choose a data table. Let's choose a DT example. And actually, maybe So a row handle, it's a bit wonky, maybe creating a row handle like this, because I need to set data table row handle. Let's call it my row handle, and we can choose a data table. Let's choose example, and we can select the first row we want to show, basic row 0, and we can set it this way. Okay. Now, the next thing we can do is just use the set data table node, with which we must specify the row by giving it a name, or set data table from row handle, which just does the same thing as this, and the first row to read from the row handle. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now let's look at the tracing component. So the NPC here, all it does is actually has the overlap. It has here a very large overlapping box, which decides when to line trace and when not to line trace. So I can actually go here into the example, and I can choose the SC component, which is called SC component wall block on this actor. And under the Speechcraft settings, I have a wall block setting, and I can draw the debug. So I can show you guys when this component is line tracing and when it's not. So now it's line tracing for me, and as you guys can see, it's not showing the widget because it's hitting the wall. Now, if I go out of this area, it's going to stop line tracing, and it's going to start, stop, start. Now, what happened here is I got too close to the doors, and they showed their widgets. Now, if I open the door real quick, we can see that it's line tracing me, like so. Okay. Okay, what the hell happened? Now I'm going to turn off the debugging. Cool. Let's go back to the blueprint. And again, when we overlap, we start line tracing from the SC component, and we stop the line tracing. Now, if we open the component blueprint, this is a bit more complicated, but practically I'm taking the location of the head of this NPC. I'm tracing for the camera. Whenever there's a hit, I remove the widget. And when we don't hit anything, actually, which is what I'm aiming for, not hitting anything means that there's a clear path to him, to the actor, and we can show the interact widget. Okay, I'm not going to go too much into it. It's a line tracing functionality. And the last example, finally, is the those doors, which one of them uses the interact component, the interact component that shows the button that all the other actors here are using, which is dependent on line tracing from the center of the screen to the actors. So the Speechcraft can also be used for indicating, I'm sorry, I want to show it again. So again, this Speechcraft component can be used just to indicate where the door is, as you guys can see. And then I can open and close it. But in this example, I'm not using the interact component, meaning I don't get the letter E shown like we did using the component that I have. This is just using an overlapping volume. And I also play a different sound to emphasize that it's a different technique here. And practically we're using the speechcraft component here not to do like a chat or a dialogue with this NPC. We're using it to show where is the point of interest, which is where this door is. Once the player gets close enough, we switch it to the interact widget. This is, by the way, this is like the minimized widget. And when I get close, it becomes the interact widget. And we can do this like so. Let me show you guys the difference. So first thing first, the normal usage using the I'm not gonna go too much to the timeline and how this thing works because it's out of scope for this plugin, but practically I've got a sphere on this door. I've got an outer box and an inner sphere. The outer box shows the shows the minimized widget. So let's go to onBox begin overlap. We're gonna get the minimized widget. OnBox end overlap. We're gonna destroy widgets unremoved. We're just gonna remove whatever is showing. The sphere, which is the smaller interactable, this one is gonna show the interact widget. Pay attention, this is the minimized, this is the interact widget. Now, when we end overlap with the inner widget, we're actually gonna show the minimized widget. So we're not gonna remove anything, we're gonna show the minimized widget. The important part also to keep track of is the fact that I removed the auto show functionality here because we are choosing when to show those widgets instead of them automatically showing when they're out of bounds. The door action has the timeline running to open and close the door. Okay, on event begin play, I bind all of those events, and basically that is all for this example. Oh, and this is important, SC interact, and the door is going to be opened. And remember that the interact component shows this button, and I decided to put it to show here. So how does this work? I took the door and I decided to find the place of the handle and this location of the handle relative to the root location. I go to get relative location to place widget. I take interact widget position. Yeah, so I can actually show it to you. Where is the interact widget position? It's just a scene component. It's the position of the handle, and this location is the location that I return in the function get relative location to place widget. Okay, now for the more, I guess, common usage is just using this overlap to enable interaction. So in this case, this example is exactly the same as the other one, except I created a separate interface called interact simple, which does not use the interact component. This interact simple example has just one function. Let me see if I can go ahead and jump real quick onto go to the door, and we've got interact simple. This is just an interaction interface that has one function, sc interact simple. This sc interact simple will open the door and play a sound to the sound. Okay. Now this is implemented through the sc. This is called from the third person. Sorry guys, I think I got a bit tired, and from this explanation, I wonder how long it's been, how long we've been talking. Yeah, so what our third person character does is we've got an action when I press the letter E, and I'm checking if I have an interactable actor, if it's valid. When it's valid, I'm going to call the interact simple interface on it. And this is exactly what happens here. I'm not using the SC interact component. Again, the SC interact component is this component here, which does a line trace and adds the letter E. So here we are again. We're not using the line trace. We're using the line trace. We get the letter E. Okay, and it's been working at the same time, I guess, because I'm still overlapping this door. There's been a problem. Okay. Oh, well, we found a bug together. Let's see. So on sphere and overlap. Oh, I disconnected this somehow. I hope it's not disconnected. What the hell? When did I disconnect this? I don't know. Anyway, I disconnected the on-end overlap event. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys find this like plugin useful, and I hope I didn't waste 6 months creating this thing for nothing. And thank you very much. I hope I cannot wait to hear from you.